Hi, and welcome to this energy check-in for the full moon in Cancer. Before pulling tarot cards for the here and the now and the energy around mid-January, I wanted to touch on a couple of astrological and cosmological events that are affecting both the personal lives of you guys and the collective energy. So as of the 12th of January, the nodal axis has shifted from Aries and Libra to Pisces and Virgo. So what are the nodes? The nodes are actually points in space. They follow the moon's orbit, and the north node and the south node cross the ecliptic. So that's how those spaces, parts of space are governed really. And they're really important, the nodes, okay, because they shift our personal and collective destiny with their switching of the axis. So you probably remember that the last 18 months, you know, it's very fresh, has been about what's been going on in the Aries Libra axis. Cardinal rising signs, Cancer, Capricorn, Aries and Libra. You're going to be breathing a big sigh of relief as the axis is shifted from cardinal now to mutable. So therefore the mutable rising signs like Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini and Virgo, you're about to embark on a more profound and pivotal upgrade to your destiny. So I will get into the personal side of things as I go, but I would like to just talk about some of the collective energy that's coming up with this shift. 2025 is a really important year, not in the same way 2020 was, because at the beginning of 2020, if you remember, we had that conjunction of Saturn and Pluto, which coincided as a chain reaction to worldwide events that ensued in 2020. This year is different in the fact that it's more about an initiation of a longer term cycle. All of the outer planets, Pluto, Neptune and Uranus, will be at 1 degree the beginning of a new sign this year. So that's pretty major. Those are the slower moving bodies, and for them to activate brand new signs all at the same year, you know, they're all going to be at 1 degree, Pluto of 1 degree Aquarius, Saturn, and even Saturn and Jupiter changed sign, but I'm jumping here, but Neptune will be at 1 degree of Aries. Uranus will be at 1 degree of Gemini, and Saturn moves into Aries this year. Jupiter will change signs to Cancer, and the nodal axis has shifted too. So this more so denotes a beginning of a new era. So this might not happen overnight. And that's so funny. Bit of a personal story here, the maiden just popping out. So if you're like me, a cardinal rising, Libra, Cancer, Aries or Capricorn rising, you will have noticed that there has been a profound change in your world over the last 18 months. So personally, maiden, I actually left my maiden archetype and gave birth to a baby, and kind of my whole life's changed now forever as I have moved into a mother archetype. So I don't know if any of you other cardinal risings have noticed such a profound shift over the last 18 months, but from now until July 2026, that's kind of what's going down. Not, of course, literally the same, but a shift as big as that, bigger, maybe not as big, but it's happening for the mutable rising signs more or less. But yeah, just to say that there are so many indicators, both astrologically and even cosmologically, around the year of 2025. And I'll get into that a little bit as we go, but I wanted to start by pulling a card for the archetype surrounding 2025 and the shift of the nodal axis from Libra and Aries now to Virgo and Pisces. Whoa, this is huge, you guys. This is Anima Mundi, the soul of the world. So Anima Mundi is the essence behind everything. And as we embark into a focus on Pisces energy, because the North Node is, I'm wearing my snake amulet because Rahu and Ketu are symbolized in Vedic astrology. Rahu is the north node and Ketu the south node, the head and the tail of the serpent. Okay, so we're entering into, this is I think the last major arcana card. This is associated with ages. Okay, this is quantum thinking, right? And actually 2025 is thought of by many scientists and archaeologists and metaphysic workers to signify the end of Kali Yuga, which has been a 27-year cycle of a dark age. And I can't believe we got the final card in the archetype book, Anima Mundi. Let me just talk to you about what this card represents, and it's so powerful, you guys. Oh my goodness. The soul of the world and all that is. Like I said, we're stepping into Pisces energy now more and more on the collective. With the North Node entering Pisces, Neptune will be at the final degree of Pisces this year. Pisces is the final sign. So Neptune reaching 29 degrees of Pisces this year before it moves into Aries, the first degree of Aries, is going to represent, I think this is validation because it's argued, it's kind of like theorized that this is the end of the Kali Yuga, Iron Age associated with consciousness. And Pisces is all about the oneness and Christ consciousness and returning to source and the awareness that we are all connected. Let me read this to you to get started. Anima Mundi epitomizes the principle, accept all, reject none. Simply put, it is the living soul of the world and all its multifaceted, multidimensional layers, bonded together by loving cosmic forces. Diversity is celebrated, multiplicity is honored, and nothing is denied. So this is about embracing, which is a very Piscean energy too. Constructs of separation dissipate. Neptune and Pisces like to dissolve and dissipate into the wonderful mess, hello, chaos of the mutable signs of shared consciousness. Anima Mundi is the link between the literal and the imaginal. Well, if literal Virgo and imaginal Pisces, if that's not the shift of the nodal axis to what we're going to be working with both personally and collectively, I don't know what is. The rational Virgo South Node and the mythic transiting Pisces North Node. It is the connective fiber that makes life meaningful. This card indicates an initiation on the level of the soul, and that's what we are actually stepping into as a collective. You will awaken the unique light within and witness how this light contributes to the radiance of the entire universe. A return to source, to oneness, and the activation as we end a 2700-year Kali Yuga of iron consciousness and begin to ascend over many lifetimes towards a golden awareness again. That's very, very exciting that we're alive at this point. So you will sense yourself as a critical note in the cosmic orchestra. Destiny is altered as you hear the enchanted melody of all living things. I mean, this is so exciting and so validating because let's talk about the shift of the nodal axis. Okay, so when we have the North Node transiting a sign, that is the pull, right? The snake's head, the pull towards exploring those energies more and stepping into what the archetypes of Pisces will look like for the collective. So again, the mythic, the oneness, the divine within us, and purging or kind of letting go of, and this is upside down, right? There's the head, there's the tail. Purging almost the sort of I have to see it to believe it quality. It will find a balance. We need both the literal and the mythic, the rational and the imaginal. Okay, we need both, and this is the 18 months where this is going to happen. So to digress a little, about 18 months ago, when the North Node moved into Aries, the collective was being asked to be more brave and more fearless, but how it played out on the world stage was a real focus on violence, destruction, and that has kind of been overdone now, of course, you know. And with Pisces now, we're starting to get this energy around like healing a lot of that. So let me talk a little bit more about that on a personal level then. Wherever Pisces and Virgo are in your birth chart, that is going to be where you're going to be pouring focus into the Pisces part of your chart and being pulled towards a upgraded kind of destined timeline in that area of life, just as you were over the last 18 months in the Aries part of your chart. Conversely, the South Node transiting Virgo, the polar sign on that axis, is going to ask you to shed certain shadow sides of the Virgo that's coming up. So this is about, you know, being judgmental of what is and rather looking at things through too much of a microscopic lens instead of seeing things as the sort of whole sum of their parts. So shedding that kind of a outlook is going to be important. Where I think it's going to be really important to tap into Virgo here is as Pisces energy is amplified, the shadow of that will be amplified, just like the shadow of Aries, the war, the destruction, the sort of just ravaging. And I mean, you don't need me to tell you what's been going on, of course, but that was oversaturated too, okay? But for whatever reason, we needed to have our awareness there. Probably due to some sort of a collective leveling up and expansion, but it came at quite a cost. So now stepping into the Pisces archetypes, we will encounter the shadow there too. Pisces is known as the healer and the shaman, and it's associated with world religion, but also spirituality and cosmology. As this archetype blows up and amplifies for us, we're going to see a lot of self-proclaimed healers and energy workers come up and come out into the collective. Virgo always asks us to use our discernment. Virgo has a very observant and analytical quality to the sign. So if you do wish to, and most likely a lot of us will be called to working with spiritual practitioners or people that can offer another perspective around our individual healing journey, but try to remember that the only person that can help you on your healing journey is you. It's often beneficial to get a perspective, sure, but I mean, it all comes down to you. So coming out of the woodwork will be people that are not embodied in their teachings, okay? Because Pisces also, the shadow is a lot about deception and illusion. So using your discernment, Virgo, when you choose to work with people is going to be very important. So people that speak about surrendering, who can't surrender themselves, people who speak about, you know, shadow work, who cannot see the shadow within themselves. Choose to work with people that walk the talk and embody their humanness and embody their potentially spiritual leanings too, okay? So I think that's where a lot of discernment can be used. I'm so excited because this card also comes up to say that this year we're going to be tending to what is sacred in life. So Virgo and Pisces is the axis of health, okay, and sacredness. Virgo purifies the body and Pisces purifies the soul. So this is going to be an 18-month time period where on the collective we're going to be hearing a lot about alternate, I guess, natural and the original kind of healing modalities and medicines even. But Pisces also rules drugs and you know, chemical drugs, and as well as plant medicines. So there's going to be a lot of disclosure around those topics. The water, oh my goodness. Okay, so on this Cancer full moon, it's important to talk about the water. The water is water in general, be it the sea, the ocean, be it the water we drink, the pollution. That's all going to be a huge talking point in the collective. And I might be going a little bit left field here, but to me, the water and the sea and the ocean, I really feel strongly that there is going to be some sort of a, you know, beginning of disclosure around the primordial waters that the ancients would have spoken about and all of the texts that support the waters being where any kind of origin story starts, and that might even involve extraterrestrial life, or like this card says, multi-dimensional layers. So potentially we don't know what's out there, be that in space or in the waters, but we do know that we are energy first and matter secondly. So we know now, science backing this up, that we are multi-dimensional, but we're energetic beings, and these physical vessels are the last manifestation of energy, the dense and the heavy body. But beyond that, we are energy. So it's going to be really important to take this into consideration when you are managing your Virgo Pisces part of your life, your health, your wellness, your daily routine, Virgo, your spiritual practice, knowing that it's all connected. Okay, so this can be then in the dark of Anima Mundi, the shadow, overwhelmed by this, overwhelmed by the bigness of existence and the macrocosmic Piscean sort of side. That's why I kind of touch on Virgo South Node. Are you sure you're using your discernment? You might be getting lost in the macrocosmic and trying to scramble for details and facts, where during this 18-year period, that might not be as cut and dry. As Pluto enters Aquarius, we are entering a 20-year cycle of super advanced technological breakthroughs, including things like AI, and perhaps things might get a little bit unclear. So there is a muddying of the waters when we talk about Pisces, especially when it's associated with Neptune, okay? So what I would say there is there's no use in relying on fact checkers. We have the answers within, okay? So that's not going to be a lifeline anymore. We have to be able to discern what is truth from fiction, relying on a central pillar of integrity and knowing and calm, and I know that that can be overwhelming, but let's see if this Anima Mundi card has any more advice. Anima Mundi is the energy behind the World card in the tarot deck, the final card of the tarot. Both carry themes of universal unity, Pisces, and completeness and embrace. That card might come up now as we move on to the collective energy tarot reading for this Cancer full moon. Whoa, a 17-minute intro. Okay, the embrace of Anima Mundi is available anytime, anywhere, to anyone, day or night, rich or poor. It is the process of unveiling our resistance to its love. So that's it. We can feel a resistance to this surrender. And surrender doesn't mean, oh, it's just give up, this is hopeless, what is the point? Surrender is actually something that is much more hopeful, much more faith-oriented. And if that's something you already work with, or maybe it's not, those kind of principles, I think this year it's going to be something that will come into your consciousness more and more. So speaking of Pisces and that kind of unity signature, and it makes me think of that 100th monkey experiment. Now, I know this is probably not like, you know, not everyone's cup of tea, and maybe it's not even like a ironclad, and nothing is ironclad, everything are theories, okay? But the 100th monkey is about the monkeys that were studied in Japan. They were washing sweet potatoes on an island. I think I have the logistics right on this. And then the technique that was developed by certain monkeys were picked up by monkeys on neighboring islands who hadn't seen this happen with their own eye. But the idea is that something binds us together, something that, you know, Virgo might ask you to discard because it isn't able to be seen by the eye, so therefore it can't be real. There's something else, there's something beyond the mundane, and the idea is that we are connected consciously. And if you've ever taken a plant medicine or a psychedelic trip, you might actually have witnessed these strands, or these, you might have actually been able to see energy as something that actually has more of a quality of even something tangible, I don't know, but the idea is that those monkeys that hadn't seen the technique used by the other monkeys on another island were able to pick up the sort of vibrational wavelength that they were on, and they were connected consciously. We're also connected consciously to one another, okay? And so much stuff is happening, you know. We've got Aries and Libra, that sort of 18 months that we've just had there beginning in July of 2023 really amplified and doubled down massively in October of 2023 onwards, and the destruction, the devastation, the Aries Martian warrior fighting, conflict, burning energy that came through there was part of a more macrocosmic, and I don't want to downplay it in any way, because you know it goes beyond words to even try and like to kind of talk about that in a way that is not going to be like, it's a hard one to talk about is what I'm trying to say. But if you look at things from a more Piscean macrocosmic view, a more cosmological view, then you're going to notice that there were certain events that have now triggered a unity consciousness and a deepening of the understanding that we're all one. Okay, so where would I go with that next? Okay, so I suppose 12th of January, the North Node entered Pisces, and the first aspect it made actually was a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. The node of entering Pisces was at 29 degrees of Pisces. The nodes kind of orbit the birth chart wheel or the zodiacal wheel in a clockwise fashion, and the other bodies move counterclockwise. So Pluto being at the beginning of Aquarius and the North Node being at the end of Pisces gives a sextile, harmonious aspect. So that was the first aspect that the node made as it entered Pisces, almost like a handshake to Pluto, or let's strike up a deal here, Pluto. Pluto is doing its 20-year cycle through the sign of Aquarius, where we're going to see radical breakthroughs in terms of quantum leaps in consciousness around technology, AI, and all of those things, sure, but on a very personal level too. And it's almost like the North Node has now made a deal with Pluto to accelerate parts of these quantum leaps that will happen over the next 20 years, with a focus on beginning with love. And I think that's the perfect time to start now to this Cancer full moon. Cancer is the sign of the home and the heart, and I think let's bring it back to the present and sit comfortably wherever we are, in the heart, in the home, and let's see what's coming through on the tarot on this Cancer full moon. Speaking of Cancer and Cancer rising and Scorpio rising, Pisces rising, the water sign risings are going to have a wonderful year this year, especially from the summertime onwards, July onwards, when Jupiter is in Cancer and trining all your water sign placements. You know, Pisces rising, that's going to be an amazing time for you. And it's just wanting to say that for Cancer rising, shout out, because you're going to be having the nodes leave your angular houses because they're leaving cardinal, Aries and Libra, and it's gonna be nice. As for the mutable risings, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, this is going to be an 18-month condensed period of soul growth and sometimes life-changing events. For the fixed risings, and I'm excluding Scorpio here because you're going to be having a very blessed year, Scorpio rising. Aquarius, Leo, and Taurus. These shifts might be a little more subtle, but all the same pivotal. That's very general because it was going to depend on your individual birth chart. But if you want to talk a little more about what's going on in your birth chart, I'll leave some details below for you to get in touch with me, okay? Out here for us. You just couldn't make it up. The world. Anima Mundi. Yeah, This is really, really groundbreaking, you guys. You could not make it up. I feel the energy is so electric right now. As I say it, it's 24 minutes recording. The full moon is happening at 24 degrees of Cancer. So we're just getting a lot of affirmation here, and I'm so happy if you're tuning in and you're watching, because I feel like you're so part of this now. The world, the anima mundi, the embrace, unity, the culmination. So should we talk a little bit about the fact that Kali Yuga is potentially ending, and from this year onwards we're entering a 300-year transition period. So it goes like this: golden level of consciousness, silver, bronze, iron, and that's the densest, kind of most materialistic, and like when you're up at the golden level of consciousness, this is like teleportation and stuff like that. But when we leave this Kali Yuga of iron level consciousness, you enter a 300-year transition period, which begins in 2025. And this is according to sort of physicists and archaeologists and scientists. You could check out Neville Goddard maybe. And if you're interested in any of that, like Christ consciousness, I like to look at this channel called Spirit Science. It's on YouTube. It's a blend of like speaking about like quantum mechanics as well as spirituality, as well as all of those things. Like it's a really palatable kind of exploration of these topics. However, when Neptune reaches the final degree of the final sign, Pisces, Neptune is associated with transcendence. We are about to start to work our way back up. You have to go through another 2,700 years iron, then to bronze, to silver, back to gold. But you know, we'll be there eventually. Not in this physical vessel, of course. But it's just exciting to see that in a long time, like 12,000 years, humanity is finally on the up and up. The second aspect that the North Node in Pisces will make will be to Neptune in Pisces. I think that's around February 7th. It's going to be a really important time or date to think about in terms of a transcendental experience. The Pisces season this year is going to be pretty major, so wherever Pisces is in your chart, there's going to be a whole lot of focus there. But now let's see what's coming through on this full moon. Let's bring it home to Cancer's energy, to the present. My mom was eavesdropping on me. The Knight of Coins, Knight of Pentacles, very grounded, and some more grounded earthy energy. I think that's what we need after that spiel. This is the Seven of Coins or Pentacles. The Queen of Swords in reverse. Watch out for these people. These are the people that proclaim to be sort of accomplished in the realms of Pisces energy, but are not truly grounded and embodied themselves. AKA, they're probably kind of a hot mess, or they're probably not totally embodied, basically, which is fine. Hello, been there, but at the same time, that's kind of, it's just important to use. Virgo is associated with the Knight of Coins, your discernment, and I just wanted to stress that again before jumping into these cards. Okay, so the Zen proverb of before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, is coming through here as we see this Knight of Coins. So this happens in a more subtle way for some of us. This isn't some sort of a, the shadow of what could come up over the next 18 months would be some sort of a loss of self or an unraveling. So to make sure that you are embodied and grounded, and you have people around you that you trust, you have a passion, you have a purpose. This doesn't have to happen overnight, but just to start to kind of shift your awareness towards welcoming that in, that could be really beneficial, so that you're not getting swept up or kind of like bamboozled essentially with the information that comes through. And you know, some of the difficulties that we're seeing in the collective, and difficulties is a very mild word, they are accelerating a sort of shift in consciousness. And typically, you know, Kali Yugas are Hindi eon, like eras, I suppose, and it's kind of like this Kali Yuga began apparently with the death of Krishna, and so in a time of an ending like 2025 of a Kali Yuga, the transition period is usually quite difficult. Usually a lot of like things happening on the world stage, from natural disasters to kind of like the rise and fall of empires and things like that. So there's just going to be a lot going on. I mean, isn't there always? And haven't things just like accelerated so much? But that is not a coincidence. In fact, nothing is. This is a sort of bottleneck effect now, where all roads lead to, I'm thinking Rome, because of the last transition period would have been like the sort of like the sort of meteor destruction of like, and we have like, you know, mythic tales about all of this. But anyway, I digress. But all roads are sort of leading to this bottleneck of, we're waking up, okay? Because we are coming out of an age of darkness, slowly, yes, but anyway, making sure that you're grounded, making sure that you're just not losing sight of the mundane, the day-to-day, the Virgo in the whole archetype of the anima mundi of the world, making sure that you are still using discernment, and you are still doing your daily practice, you're still tending to your physical body, your health, and just making sure that you're not getting swept up and bamboozled in the macrocosmic. It's hard to tune out everything that's going on around us, but it is possible. And I know that might sound like, in a sense, it's bypassing, and I'm kind of running risk here of kind of saying something wrong. So my intention is not to do that. My intention, though, is to say that I'm an evolutionary astrologer who does believe in reincarnation and concepts like that. And I know that all of us have lived lives, I know personally, my opinion, of course, lives of suffering and lives of Taurus, Seven of Pentacles, heaven on earth, okay? And we can control where we pay focus to, and we can be invited to the more Piscean aspects of like empathy, compassion, help, assistance. Like Pisces does rule homeless people, Pisces does rule addiction, and it rules refugees, and it rules the outcasts and people marginalized. So of course we can put our focus there, but it is important to also not lose sight of your own day-to-day controllable, in a sense, reality, okay? I just think that might be an important thing to mention. The Seven of Coins. This full moon is a little frustrating, okay? Because part of your, well, the anima mundi of you, the sort of essence of you, probably knows deeply that Two of Coins, another earth energy at the bottom of the deck, even more earth with the Ten of Coins here. And then we have Pisces and Virgo. Jeez, these cards are wonderful today. The Virgo and Pisces major arcana is right here at the bottom of the deck. The soul knows that there are two splittings occurring. There always seems to be this split in reality, split in truth, and potentially let's try and find a middle ground somewhere. That could be what the frustration is. It's hard to find a middle ground. It's hard to find something that seems just centered even at times. So let's look for the center line. Does that make sense? The Seven of Coins, probably mixing up my words a bit. I've been recording a while, but the Seven of Coins tells me that you might be a little bit frustrated for the rest of January, just because, you know, you're not quite there yet, but just have patience. That's what the Seven of Coins says. This person has a task, sure. They're probably out here with their baskets foraging or collecting something, maybe even for a group of people. Looks like kind of a nun perhaps to me, so this is kind of amplifying nun, maiden, Virgo and Pisces religion. This is kind of suggesting to me that, you know, you're out doing work for other people in a selfless way. Pisces and Virgo are two of the most selfless archetypes of the zodiac and very helpful. Okay, so this is so, like, this person is chilling with their dog. Okay, and Pisces and Virgo is also associated with small animals. So this is to suggest that this person really isn't in a rush. They will complete their tasks and everybody will be happy and fed and watered, and everybody will get what they need on time, and this job will be completed. So have faith and have patience. But I understand that there's a bit of a frustration coming through. Queen of Swords in reverse. It tells me that over the next 2 weeks, you're probably going to hear or see a perspective that really doesn't align with you, or potentially even triggers you, or is hurtful or offensive. And that's the Queen of Swords in reverse. Upright, this sword of truth is more resonant, but the delivery in the reversal would probably suggest that it's not going to be welcomed, and at least maybe it's not welcomed right away, and maybe you just have to sit with it, but there probably is medicine. The Moon card. Let this next 2 weeks unfold after this full moon today, and probably reflect the Hermit card on what comes up, knowing that there's probably a nice little nugget of wisdom, truth, or something helpful in there, even if at the start it's a little uglier, or it's not as pleasant to hear. Okay, this full moon invites you to strike up a healthy daily routine and really kind of just like ground yourself in something more monotonous, something that you go to do every day, be it something to do with moving your body or something around the house or some sort of a route you take. Just kind of try and keep things to a sort of structured routine, and that's going to bring actually a lot of comfort as the winds of change really ramp up and sort of sweep the collective more and more this year. There's so much happening astrologically and cosmologically this year. I just wanted to start by talking about the bigger event of January, which was the shift of the nodal axis. And I really thank you for watching. See you soon.